Hello, and welcome to Mental Health Matters. I'm your host, Liz Lang. Each week on this podcast, we will break down various aspects of mental health. We are so excited you're here and hope you enjoy this week's episode. Hey guys, Liz Lang here with Jeremiah and Selina from Core Connection. And this week we are going to get into the instant gratification trap. And before we do that, Selina has our parenting moment.
Yeah, I have a perfect example of what we've been talking about, having instant gratification in this case. But last week, how we talked about entertainment and being fulfilled and the difference in that. And so recently we went to a water park and, we spent all day playing at the water park, but there comes an end at some point. And finding when that end is got a lot of different opinions when you got a big family. And so when we came to the end and time to go and most people were ready to go, there were some that were pretty upset and sad, and it just ruined their whole day. And it just got me thinking to some of this that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks of the instant gratification and how entertainment isn't always fulfilling, because that individual was not fulfilled. Even though we spent the whole day having fun and being entertained, they weren't fulfilled. Also learned that when you're in a big family, someone's not going to be happy, and I'm just going to be okay with, I can't make everyone happy. Just expect someone's going to be upset.
Yeah. Yep. I feel like a lot of people could benefit from that lesson of you can't please everyone. So you might as well just do what you're going to do. Okay, so helping teens build patience, persistence, and self-control in an on-demand world. Is it just me, or does it feel like teens have a harder time than ever waiting? Like, it feels so difficult for them. And that's not too surprising when we consider the world that they've grown up in. I've been seeing a lot of things lately about, how kids entertain themselves today on a long road trip. And there's screens and movies and TVs and all this stuff. And then, back in the 90s, you were just looking out the window, watching things. And it's not their fault. And it's not that anybody's done anything wrong. It's just, we live in this world where there is instant streaming, same day delivery, instant messaging, endless entertainment, and on-demand answers. Like, you can Google anything and AI will spit out an answer for you in like 10 seconds flat. So yeah, we're used to this instant gratification world. So why is that problematic? And what can we do about it?
I was going to say teenagers. I think all of us. I get upset when Amazon takes more than 2 days.
Yes.
We've all been conditioned to have that instant, same day, immediate reactions, deliveries, entertainment, answers. So, yeah, what is the problem with that?
I guess the problem is when it translates into our everyday lives and we're not willing to put in the time for the reward. We were at a track meet for our children. Our area does a youth track program in the summertime. It's kind of short and it's a lot of fun. And I'm watching all these kids, and there's very, very young kids all the way up to teenagers that are participating. And some are quite a bit better than others. And I was thinking about this topic in that the struggle is they want to be good at whatever they do after they try it once or twice. I think we forget that it takes work. It takes a lot of discipline and repetition and practice to become good at these events at track, right?
Yeah.
We can get faster when we practice, and there's exercises and stretches and working out and all the things that go along with it, building muscle. But this world we live in, I guess I don't know that it's really a problem. It's that we have to learn to differentiate between what's okay to be instant and recognize that there are things in life that are never going to be instant, and they take time, they take effort. We can't just be good at something because we decided to do it. Usually there's certainly, I guess there's those who have some pretty natural talent, but it takes time and discipline to develop the skills, the muscles, and the capacity to do the different things that we want to do in our lives. Real relationships take time. They're not instant. So there's just a lot of different pieces here. Certainly, I think that there's some benefit to some of the instant gratification that we have. It is great to be able to say, hey, let's have a family movie night. We don't have to go down to Blockbuster and pick out a movie and take it home and put it in the VCR and play it and then rewind it before we take it back. Yeah, I'm dating myself, I know, but it's nice to be able to just pull up a streaming service and hit play and say, oh yeah, that's the one I want to watch. It's wonderful when we do shopping and we can get something delivered same day or next day. Sure, those things are wonderful. Instant answers. Yeah, we have great access to information. Sometimes that information is really important and we need it right away. It's not that it's bad. So I want to be careful that we don't make it sound like it's bad. I think where it becomes a problem is we stopped learning how to go through the process to find life satisfaction through natural and normal behaviors.
Yeah, here's some of the things I heard at the track meet from other moms. Well, the not to do is if you act that way one more time, you're not going to ever do track again. That was said. Not from me this time. But it was interesting to hear different kids, being upset they didn't get a medal. And the mom's like, well, how many times have you been doing this? Like, we just started this. It's going to be hard. You're not going to be able to do it. Or, other kids that were frustrated with their results. And the question was asked, is this your first year doing this event? Have you done this event before? Did you even get to practice this week at track? Were you gone? So just realizing that waiting, practicing, and persisting are skills, not personality traits or things that just come normal or natural. Those are all things that we can make become a skill.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. And I think I especially like this idea of all instant gratification isn't bad, right? There's nothing wrong. I think I especially agree with what Jeremiah said. Like, there's nothing wrong with ordering something and getting it the same day. That's actually convenient. That's saved my bacon more than once in a birthday for birthdays or for events or what have you. Like, it is convenient and it's not bad, but we also have to teach our kiddos the value of persistence and the value of delayed gratification. So the ability to delay gratification, it's one of the strongest predictors of future success, healthy relationships, and emotional resilience. And it's going to be a lot different for a young kiddo compared to even a teenager. It's too much to expect your 4 or 5-year-old to understand delayed gratification. Like, they're going to see something and they're going to want it now, and they're going to pitch a fit when they don't get what they want now. That's developmentally normal. But what we don't want is our teenager doing the same thing. And, but it's a skill. It's something that is learned. It's not something that just comes inherent in kids. They don't just inherently understand this concept of, if I can be patient and I can wait, I can have a greater reward in the end. So how do we teach this to our kids? How do we help them develop this skill of delayed gratification?
It's a difficult thing to teach. Even without the current, influx of dopamine into our children's lives, this isn't a simple thing to teach anybody. Even adults struggle with this, right? Number one is opportunity. I think we've got to put our children in situations where they have opportunity. And I think this really starts long before teenage years, and walking through that process, and when they play sports and helping them understand what happens when we practice and helping them see the results of practice. And I think that it happens when we work on a project together, maybe a project at home. I think that's one of the great things that families could do. Maybe you need a new deck in your backyard and you have the capacity to build it. It's not going to just happen overnight. It might take several weekends of work, and having children work with you on that project can be really, really beneficial. And then discussing how it feels when it's done, right? So let's say we rebuild a deck and we spend 3 weekends. The first weekend, we tear it apart. The second weekend, we rebuild. And the third weekend, we refinish and we furnish it and we have it all done. And then we spend some time with them and we walk through what the experience was like. We talk about what the old deck looked like. We talk about how, maybe our bodies were sore after some of the work. And we have those conversations with our kids. And then we talk about how nice it is to sit here on this new deck with this new furniture and how we're going to enjoy it for the years to come. Now they start to see and can understand like, oh, okay, there's a process. And now it's taken some time. It didn't just happen overnight, but it's taken some time. Same thing with just about anything. We can plan a vacation and spend time prepping for it. It doesn't just happen all at once, right? We can create an exercise routine. Maybe one of our children is really into sports and we want to build a certain group of muscles with them. And we can track over time what the progress is, how much weight we're lifting, how hard the reps are, and things like that. And then again, we're walking through it with them to show them and say, hey, yeah, let's look back 6 months ago when you started this sport. And, maybe here's a video of you trying to, hit this softball at the softball game. And now look at where it's going. We've worked these muscles and we've seen all this improvement and seen what you've been able to do. I think that's probably the biggest key to helping them understand how to get from point A to point B. And of course, I'm sure we're going to talk about it even more today, but there's going to be lots of wanting to quit along the way, right? I think about my 2 oldest daughters who are both very good musicians, talented with the piano and organ. And when they were young, we had them practicing and taking lessons, and they wanted to quit. And, we used to tell them, and maybe we've said this on the podcast before, I don't remember, but, if you can find one person who quit and didn't regret it, we'll let you quit. And you can't, because they don't typically exist. And maybe there's some out there somewhere. I don't know for sure, but they didn't learn to play the way they play now by practicing a couple of times and then they could all of a sudden play. It took time and effort. We see the same thing, like, if any of you have ever gone to a middle school orchestra or band concert, they can be kind of rough, actually. You're like, oh. And then when you go to their last one in high school, you're like, oh, wow, like that's really amazing. That's what I'm saying. We give them these opportunities. We talk to them about it. We work with them and help them see that skills like that come over time, not overnight.
Right. I think of learning to play any type of a string instrument and how, guitar, violin, ukulele, you have to develop the calluses and you also have to develop the coordination to switch quickly between chords. It's actually really difficult to do at first, to switch fluidly between different chords when you're learning to play guitar. And it's really quite difficult. But you have to just keep going. You have to build up those calluses. And kids have got to learn to do the same thing. They've got to experience the pain, the frustration, the anger, the hurt. So sometimes I feel like as parents, we rush to remove the discomfort, right? So we don't want them to experience the pain of the blisters from practicing so much, so to speak, right? Or, we want to maybe protect them from getting those sore muscles from a hard practice, or, the struggle and the frustration of not being able to get that piece, that piano piece right. So what happens if parents just constantly do this? Or what are the benefits of allowing your kid to feel the discomfort?
Well, I think there's a couple of things in all of that. I think a lot of parents do. It's easier for us to, when the kid wants to quit, especially if they're fighting us all the time, like, you know what, why are we even doing this? Is it worth it? Let's just give up. And it's not a great thing to do. Sometimes there's reason, and I support that. But in general, allowing children to go through the discomfort and giving them the opportunity is powerful. We do live in this world where everybody wants their feelings to be recognized and the discomfort to be mitigated. And we don't want to feel anything hard or bad or difficult. And I think it's a terrible idea. Discomfort is what makes us grow. We become weak when we don't experience discomfort. We don't experience hard things. We become weak and less capable of managing things. So having our kids go through that, it teaches so many life lessons. It's not just about the sport or learning an instrument or whatever the project might be. These are life lessons that help people to understand that, hey, I can sit in this discomfort and I can move through it and everything's okay. It's not bad. And I know that I can come out stronger on the other side if I put in the effort.
Yeah. And we've said this before, we've talked about this scenario a couple of times, the kid wanting to quit a sport midway through a season. And sure, there could be times where that might need to be the case, where that could be the best choice. But I think more often than not, it's better to make your kids stick it out. And because it teaches them resilience, it teaches them persistence. And if they absolutely hate it and they don't want to keep doing it, I think it's totally fine, right? But, don't let your kid quit on something, on a commitment that they've made. I think that's really what it comes down to, is we want to teach the kids the value of commitment and follow through. That's a really great way to help combat, that instant gratification issues that you can have. So let's give a real life example of when parents maybe try to rescue their teen. So they forgot a school assignment. Oftentimes, parents want to rush to just bring the assignment to them, or maybe they forgot a musical instrument. We've had that happen before as well at our house. Like, they forgot their music instrument, and so it's like, well, do we take it to them, or do we just let them learn the lesson the hard way and let them maybe figure out what that means?
Yeah, that's a hard one. There might be situations where that doesn't make sense. There might be situations where it does. But I think we do need to be careful as parents to not always bail our children out when they make poor choices. I know we talk a lot about positive discipline and the book Positive Discipline because we agree with so much of what's in there. And in that book, there's some examples of a child who forgets his lunch and tells the teacher, and the teacher calls mom, and mom brings it back to the school and interrupts her day and her work day and whatever she's doing. It interrupts the teacher, and the teacher and the mom finally get together and decide, you know what, it's not going to kill him if he goes without lunch. It's just not. He's going to be uncomfortable. He's going to be hungry, but it really won't hurt him. So, we talk to the child and say, hey, here's the deal. You keep forgetting your lunch. I'm not going to bail you out anymore. If you don't take it, you're going to have to just do without. And they go through this example. And of course, the kid forgets his lunch and he ends up getting a friend to give him a half a sandwich or something like that. And he learned some great lessons. And it takes a little time and a few times. And all of a sudden they learn that, we've got to be responsible for ourselves. So when we're looking at this discomfort piece, it's not a bad thing. It's not an enemy for our children. This is a great way for them to develop confidence and competence. And it's just such a great way for them to grow. So if your child is having a problem forgetting their instrument at school regularly, they might have to go through whatever it is, whatever consequence exists, right, at school, instead of you running it to them. They don't remember because they haven't been given the responsibility to remember. And once we start giving them that responsibility, suddenly it becomes important and they're able to remember.
Yeah. Okay, so another thing that we could do is teaching persistence without lecturing, right? So oftentimes when kids do it right, or they do, succeed in something, we often want to just go to, wow, you're so great. You're so great at that. Wow, you're so good at the piano. You are so good at softball, or you're so smart. So rather than praising the outcome, we want to focus more on the effort, right? And you can really apply it to anything. we were at a softball game with our daughter a couple weeks ago, and I don't even remember how it came up, but she said something about, how important it is, or how winning is important, or something to that effect. And I said, okay, but what's the number one rule? And her immediate answer was to work hard and try your best, which I loved. And the number one rule that I was actually looking for is have fun. Like that's how you win any game, is you have fun. But I love that her first instinct was work hard and do your best. And, that's what we're trying to get our kids to understand. It's not about winning or losing. It's about how hard you worked.
Yeah, I'm in this weird camp, I guess, of folks. I don't love the participation trophy idea.
Yeah.
I want kids to know that when they work hard, they can win. And when you work hard, you can lose. And maybe the other team worked harder. And there's nothing wrong with learning those examples. But I agree with you, Liz. We really want to praise the effort, not the outcome, because sometimes the outcome isn't great. You might have a child that studied really, really hard for a big test. Maybe they spent weeks studying and they still didn't get a very good grade. Like, are you going to be upset that they got a bad grade? I hope not. I want to praise them and say, man, I know this isn't what you wanted, but you worked so hard and you studied so hard. And I'm sure you've learned many things. And I'm proud of the effort or the work that you've put into being successful in this area.
Or you work really hard in a sport and the end of the season, you didn't get the results that you thought you should get, or you feel like you deserve from the hard work that you did put in. And pointing out and recognizing to them that, it's not just always those outcomes or results or numbers that, first, second, third, but what did you learn? What did you improve? And look at the overall big picture and be proud of that effort and be proud of the results that you have personally.
Yeah, right. So I think another thing that we can do is normalize being bad at something. It's okay. So I have terrible hand-eye coordination. I am not naturally good at sports. Sports like soccer, softball, basketball, volleyball. It's just not a natural talent. And I'm okay with that. And I tell my kids that, yeah, no, I'm terrible at this. But you know what? Sometimes I'll do it anyways because it's fun, or it's because what everybody else wants to do. We can also apply that to academics. And we want to be careful there too, I feel like, because, math is a struggle for me and it always has been. But I don't want to say I'm just bad at math, because we don't want to normalize being bad at academics. Or I don't know, maybe we do. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on this. But maybe it's more appropriate to normalize. We all struggle with something. We can't all be good at everything.
Well, the wording is, I'm not good at math yet, because with any effort and hard work, you can get good at something. But I also think it's okay to be okay with yourself for the good and the bad, and get really good at being okay with not being good.
Yeah.
Did you follow that? Did that make sense? But I think we get too upset, like you said, that, we're not good at something, but find lots of opportunities that you can just really be okay with not being good.
I think helping our kids understand that these differences in the world are what makes our world interesting and exciting. If everybody was good at the same exact things, we wouldn't have any growth or invention or any way to really move forward, because we would all be good at the same things. We're all a little bit different. We're all unique, and we all have different strengths and weaknesses. And helping our kids understand that's a powerful resource to have in your back pocket as a human being. And I love, Selina's taught this so many times, and I love it. I love this idea of understanding that I'm not good at math yet, or, I'm really good at being okay with not being good at math. And I'm also really good at this thing or that thing, and just moving forward with that kind of attitude.
Yeah, but I think it can also help teach teamwork and interdependence, which is very much a human thing, right? So if you acknowledge, I am not very good at this specific skill set, right? That's not my strong suit. Who can I find to help overcome that, right? And that's going to translate really well for our kids into when they get into leadership roles, like, hey, recognizing other people's strengths and knowing how to utilize other people's strengths. You first have to recognize where your strengths lie and where they don't lie. And I also love this idea of just being comfortable. I used to struggle with that when I was younger, and maybe it's just a teen thing of like feeling like you have to know. You want to be in the know. When somebody's talking about something, you want to know what they're talking about. And it took me time and practice to just be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Or no, I don't know what that means, right? Rather than just okay, nodding along. Let teens see that. Let kids see that sometimes we don't know the answer, and that's okay. It's a great learning opportunity.
It is okay. And yeah, it can be a lot of fun when we start to have this capacity to look at ourselves and say, you know what, this isn't a strength of mine, and it's okay. I'm okay with that. You reminded me, Liz, about the corporate world, right? We often have these business owners who typically hire individuals that they like, that are like them, when in reality, a better option is generally to look for somebody who's not like you. You want to hire to your weaknesses, not to your strengths. And helping kids to see that and understand that in the world. For example, maybe they're on a sports team, right? And maybe your kid is really, really good at being the quarterback on the football team, but they're terrible at being a wide receiver or a defenseman. And they want to start putting together this team because they're going to go play in some competition, and they want to bring all their friends who are great at playing quarterback. Well, what's going to happen? Mm-hmm. Nobody can catch the dang ball, right? And so you can help them go through that process and say, I know maybe you and this kid don't get along because you don't see the world the same way, but he can catch a ball, and he's really good at catching the ball, and you're really good at throwing it. So why don't you bring him on the team and see what you guys can do together? If we put all the same kind of people on the team is not going to succeed.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's talk about what can sometimes maybe be a little bit harder, and that is the modeling piece of this. So teens are paying attention even when it doesn't feel like they are. So they are watching how we handle frustration, how we handle failure, delays, disappointments. They are seeing all of that. And we're not always going to get it right. So it's okay if we sometimes model wrong. As a parent, you probably already have, and you're going to again. But, I think in general, we just want to do our best to model and just talk about it. So when I picked up cycling and I decided that I wanted to try my hand at racing, I did not win a single event. Like my first few events, they went awful, and I felt like I had no success. And I shared that with my kids. I shared with them and I told them I got my butt kicked by a 13-year-old girl. She totally beat me. But you know what? That's okay. I don't have to be the best cycling. What did I learn? What did I do? What am I doing for my body? I am getting in such great shape, and I'm having so much fun. And I found this wonderful, amazing community that I love. And so, there's all sorts of great ways that we can model for our kids what it means to persist and to work hard through something.
Yeah, I love that. What a great example, Liz. And I love that you shared it with your kids, because that helps them to see that you're human. We so often as parents, we don't want our kids to see us make mistakes. We want them to think we know it all and that we're perfect and we've got it all figured out. If we go back to the project of building a deck together, I guarantee you're going to make some mistakes building that deck. And here's a great opportunity to model how to manage those frustrations and those disappointments and failures, and then sitting with them and problem solving and coming up with solutions on how to correct things, or just sharing with them what's happening with you. Those are great ways to model, but it is really hard because not only do we want to do it all right and want to have all the answers, but we often portray that to our kids. Maybe we feel a little bit weak or incapable or incompetent when our kids do see us in situations where we things didn't go the way we had hoped. So it's a great opportunity to have them be a part of that piece of our lives. And it's a good opportunity for us to try and model a healthy way to move through those frustrations.
Yeah. So I had a thought about how this can translate into relationships. So I'm not sure how my mind came to the divorce rate, but it did. And there seems to be a pretty high divorce rate. And I wonder if it's maybe a little bit of product of this instant gratification and this desire to want everything to be easy. And, I think oftentimes when you first get married, you're so excited, it's new, the relationship is fresh, and it feels good and it feels so happy. But you still have to put forth a lot of effort. It takes time and dedication to make a relationship thrive. And relationships are one of the most important things in our lives. And so, I think maybe the best gift we can give our kid is to teach them how to persist, even when things do get hard, because hopefully they can persist in their relationships when relationships get hard. And that's not to say that there's never a case where a relationship just needs to end, because that's totally the case. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about, persisting where it really matters.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the instant gratification piece of what we've been talking about over the last several weeks with dopamine is related to divorce rates or not. I really don't have any idea. But you're right in that relationships, they do take effort. They're not just something that exists because we want them to exist. They take effort, they take time, and they take energy, and it's a process to grow those into something worthwhile. Worthwhile rewards generally take time. They're not, and I guess that's what we've been talking about, especially last week, right? If we want a fulfilling life, it's not just going to be instantly fulfilling. It's a matter of decision making and persistence and working through struggles and challenges and goal setting that all helps us find that fulfilling life that we're all seeking.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to just trust the process, right? Oftentimes success is the result of small, unglorious choices. It's not glamorous to struggle in anything, right? It's not glamorous to play that piano piece 5 times, 20 times, 50 times and get it wrong. But man, that 51st time when you nail it, that sure does feel good. And we've got to help our teens. We got to give them opportunities to feel that. Okay, so next week we are going to get into the motivation mystery, and we will see you all then. Have a question? How about a topic you'd like us to cover? Send us an email at mentalhealthpod21@gmail.com.